Check it. Welcome to Street Flames Crew. And today, we're going to get into some more about this big bank situation. Now, right here, we got DOGFACE exploding and exposing Big Bank. Now, I feel as though Big Bank and DOGFACE should sit down, and I feel as though DOGFACE should be able to go chest to chest up with Bank because they sitting there marketing Bank as some type of rat saver or something. But that's rather here and there. I don't have no dog in the fight. I don't care who rat or who did or who didn't. But my whole thing is, if you're gonna do that, you gotta do that. But this video right here is covered under the Fair Use Act, and we about to get into that. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. I'm gone.
Why do you DOGFACE? Why do you personally think 6ix9ine chose to do perspectives with Bank? He can do anything. Why he chose that show?
Now you're in the same position. You took money for 6ix9ine to do something that 6ix9ine wanted you to do. How was that different from what Kodak did? Lil Boosie, you really supposed to be on tour with B2K, Mario, Romeo, Lil Bow Wow, and Ching. Listen, I think Bank walked into the Rainbow Lions Den. And when he got there, I think he was overwhelmed by what he saw. All the colors, the spectacle, the big jumbotron ass. You have drastically overestimated your worth. Oh, I'm getting high numbers. Okay, watch this.
True, are you the spokesperson for All-Star JR?
I am.
Can you give us an exclusive update on his situation without saying too much? What's the status? What's going on with JR right now? You think 6ix9ine put Bank in the trick bag, bro?
Websites your competitors don't want you to know, part 2.
All you do is go to this website, and it lets you find out exactly how much your competitors are making by showing you how much.
With the man of the hour, man. The man of the hour. We back on the Mafia channel with the one and only DOGFACE. What's going on, dog?
Chatting with you, man. How you feel?
Feeling real good, man. It's a new look, man. What we got going on here, bro? You on your Dr. Claw right now?
Yeah, this is the laboratory. This is where I conduct all mad science experiments.
So what we're in your studio?
Yes.
Wow, your office.
Yeah, my office. Yeah, exactly.
You got a lot going on over here, man. Nice spot, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. This is where I do all of my destructive activity. It happens here. When I get in your ass, this is the headquarters. This is get on your ass central. Pause.
That's what it is, man. Let's go right into it, man. A lot of people like, man, DOGFACE been everywhere, bro. We ain't heard from him on the Mafia channel in a minute. Everybody want to know what's going on. So before we get into the 6ix9ine Big Bang thing, everybody want to hear about. Let's see what's been going on with you in the last couple weeks. What's the experience like doing interviews on major platforms like No Jumper, Vlad TV, and The Real Report, bro?
It's kind of like surreal. It's a surreal experience. I'm kind of like living in the moment. I haven't had the opportunity to sit back and reflect on just the overall impact of what I'm doing. I'm just doing it, brother. I'm not. I haven't.
Actives with Bank. He can do anything. Why he chose that show?
Because Bank represents the street element in the city of Atlanta. Even though he's a media personality now, Bank is still known as Big Bank. He still is a representation of the streets. So when they hear Bank talk, Bank has a lot more credibility because of the things that he has gone through in his lifetime, because of his past. He solidified. So when Bank says something, if Bank say yeah, it's yeah. It's as simple as that. So 6ix9ine wanted to do Bank because 6ix9ine, he understood that was 21 Savage's backyard. That's Gucci's backyard. That's Young Thug's backyard. That's Gunna's backyard. That's QCP's backyard. And now it is Boosie's backyard. Whoa. It's the seat of hip hop. So he wanted to get that message off to somebody who he knew everybody from Atlanta listened to.
So in your opinion, did 6ix9ine, did 6ix9ine prove his point on the double standard of rappers snitching?
I think that point was proven before he even sat down with Blank. That point, unless you're retarded, right? The point, he's been making this same point for how many years, right? And then it kicked back up when the audio from Thug's leaked jail phone calls hit the flow.
Let me pause you right there. A lot of people don't know behind the scenes. When I booked 6ix9ine on the very first Vlad interview, that's what made him call me to do the interview. He said, yo, Mafi, it's the perfect time. Thug audio tapes is out right now. I'm ready to turn up.
What made me sit down with you was when Young Thug snitched.
Mm.
Am I lying?
Yeah, you're right.
On your kids?
Yeah.
I think Mafi was trying to reach out. Shout out to Mafi. Mafi was trying to reach out for a year. I was like, nah, we don't do this, we don't do that, whatever the case with that scenario. And then when Young Thug snitched and everybody made excuses for it, I said, you know what? This is my perfect time to sit down with Vlad because I'm saying this. I see selective politicking.
That's what made him ready to go.
Right. I mean, the whole thing is, I don't think anybody learned anything new watching Banks' interview with 6ix9ine. It's like the court of law. Question has been asked and answered. He already told you why he did what he did, how he felt about what he did. And so there was nothing new. We didn't learn anything new by watching the interview. All we watched was two guys go back and forth about how they feel about what it is he did. Bank is still doubling down on you're different. The only thing that shocked me is that he mentioned the fact that he was Mexican. What the fuck that got to do with anything? 6ix9ine was a part of the 9 trade as a Mexican, as a Puerto Rican. I don't even know what his nationality is. I thought he was Puerto Rican.
Mexican.
Okay. What the fuck they got to do with anything? Mexicans and niggas, whether they want to believe it or not, we all the same. We all in the same bunch. Niggas want to get rid of us like they want to get rid of them. We cousins, you hear me? And so what the fuck? That was something new. The only thing new was that he grabbed the whole Mexican card and tried to use it to 6ix9ine as if his sin against the street was worse or was made worse because he was a Mexican telling on some niggas. And like 6ix9ine said, niggas are niggas' biggest enemy. He pointed out that when it comes to Nipsey Hussle and Pop Smoke, PNB Rock, Biggie Smalls,
All niggas.
Tupac, all niggas. Taxstone and Troy Ave and all the King Von and Lil Tim and Quando Rondo man got killed and cat. All them
They just try to take your mans out. JR.
niggas. So
Hold up. Thing.
hey, listen. So I don't think that Big Bank took the interview serious. I don't think that he was. I don't think that. I think that he thought he knew everything it was about 6ix9ine. I don't think that he did any independent research outside of just knowing what took place with 6ix9ine's situation. I don't think that he properly prepared himself to conduct that interview because I'm going to say that I don't think that he properly prepared for the interview because when you look at the interview, when you examine how the conversations went, a lot of this shit has been asked and answered. A lot of what Banks' point was
nothing.
We knew the answers to that 3 or 4 years ago.
You think 6ix9ine put Bank in the trick bag, bro?
Yep.
Or not?
Fuck yeah.
Yep.
That is some Donald Trump shit. Listen, let me tell you why he put him in the trick bag. You ready for this?
No, man, I don't think so. But get to me.
Let me tell you why.
One, when he said, I paid you to come to my house to interview me.
When he told that boy Bank that he paid him to be here, Bank had nothing to do. He had to listen. He had to use all ears because he knows 6ix9ine could have kicked him out on live.
What's the difference between Big Bank getting paid to interview 6ix9ine in Miami? So Bank, you traveled from Atlanta to Miami, probably with your production crew that you're used to working with. I don't think you hired a production crew in Miami. I think you brought your people from Atlanta with you. So you packed your ass up and you either drove in a Sprinter or you flew to Miami and you went to 6ix9ine's house
And got put in a trick bag.
29 minutes after Vlad was there. You watched Vlad interview 29 minutes. Vlad, the Vlad, that's the same seat. Vlad, the seat's still hot. You tried to reconfigure the shit a little bit, but the motherfucking set was still hot.
And our 6ix9ine interview going crazy as we speak.
Yeah, the seat was still hot. You went down there and you followed in Vlad's footsteps, trying to be Vlad.
If you ever wanted to start your own clothing brand, but you didn't want to buy inventory, handle shipping, or risk wasting your money, this video is for you. Today, I'm showing you a platform that lets you design, launch, and sell real products in just a few clicks. No warehouse and no upfront inventory, so there's no stress. Hey, y'all, it's
Hey, listen, it's the trick bag. 6ix9ine paid you to come to his house to interview him
Shoulda knew what it was.
when you knew in advance
He was gonna
what he was going to do. You knew that he was going to bring up Thug. You knew that he was going to bring up QCP. You knew that he was going to bring up Gunna. You knew he was going to bring up 21 Savage. And you knew he was going to bring up Gucci.
You knew this.
When he said, I paid you to come down here, fuck me up. I stopped this bitch like, hold on. I pause, motherfucker.
Rewinded it
So he paid you to come down there
to cook you.
and interview him. What's the difference between 6ix9ine paying you
Him and paying you.
to come to Miami and interview him
That ain't
and what Kodak Black did when 6ix9ine paid Kodak Black?
It really ain't no difference, bro. And Bank know that. Bank, like he said, he just wanted the views. He wanted the views. He wanted the views.
To jump on the song with him. What's the difference?
I understand the value of $1. Yeah. But $100 still $100. A band still a band, homie. Yeah. I mean, fucking all bro, to do a song with a nigga who like I don't even know the niggas he told on, and I ain't even from over there. And this is some shit like nigga, that's y'all rap.
The only difference is that in the song, at least Kodak Black was able to push back in the song. Kodak Black got paid $1 million to drop 16 bars on the song in which he dissed 6ix9ine.
Yep.
Big Bank got handled down there. Bank, I'm gonna need you. Hey, Bank, you might need to go back to the trap. Cause this shit might not be for you. Cause how do you let this motherfucker run circles around you like that?
That's what you saw on there?
What else is it to see? You travel to his house. Big Bank, listen, this is how I became aware of Big Bank. I saw him on Instagram. This was like 6 or 7 years ago. And he made an Instagram video in which he said that
This is some money.
there's no such thing as an honorable rat.
Yep.
And he admonished people who dealt with rats. This is what he said specifically.
Yep.
He said there's no such thing as an honorable rat. A rat is a rat is a rat. He said that once it comes out that you're a rat, not only are you a rat, but your whole bloodline is tainted. Your kid's rat, your mama a rat, your dog rat, the roach a rat, your mailman who delivers mail to your house is a rat because he delivered mail to you. Listen, man, what's the difference between you getting paid to go interview 6ix9ine? He ain't dropped no album. He ain't got the hottest single in the country. There's nothing new. You went to a 6ix9ine house to talk about something that took place 5, 6 years ago. There's no new revelations. There's no new news about it. So that means you went down there for clicks and likes.
And view. You went down at the dick.
You didn't go down there because there was any new revelation. You went to 6ix9ine house to discuss with him something that's been discussed and been talked about to the point where niggas are not even interested in that shit no more. You get paid to go down there to interview 6ix9ine. I'm assuming you ain't need the money, but you took the money anyway. Kodak Black took the money, and everybody in Atlanta, including Bank, had something to say about Kodak Black taking that motherfucking money for 6ix9ine. Now you're in the same position. You took money for 6ix9ine to do something that 6ix9ine wanted you to do. How was that different from what Kodak did?
So speaking of interviews, like I said in the beginning, man, you've been getting interviewed by a lot of people, not just a lot of people, a lot of greats. You know what I'm saying? So you are familiar with interview styles.
Yes.
What was your critique of Banks' interview style that you saw last night?
It was unprepared. It was sloppy. And it was like he was like a deer caught in the headlights. I think all the fucking colors. Listen, I think Bank walked into the Rainbow Lions Den. And when he got there, I think he was overwhelmed by what he saw. All the colors, the spectacle, the big fucking jumbotron ass shit.
So it didn't look like an interview to you.
It didn't look like it. It didn't sound like it. See, listen, we don't give a fuck about how an interview looks. We care about the substance that we take from it. We care about what we can learn from an interview. We care about how are you taking us beyond what we already know about 6ix9ine and his situation with 9 Trey. At this point, we don't give a fuck about 9 Trey. Just like most people don't give a fuck about what Gucci is doing. Right now, everybody in Atlanta trying to find an excuse to justify what happened with YSL, what happened with Gucci, what happened with Gunna. Whether you agree or disagree, motherfuckers in Atlanta are trying to find an excuse to make that shit more fair seeming. They're trying to make an excuse to justify why a motherfucker did X, Y, and Z. Oh, Thug didn't tell nobody's in jail. That's not the criteria. The criteria, according to Big Bank, the criteria according to 21 Savage, the criteria according to Thug prior to the motherfucking leaked jail phone calls coming out, prior to us knowing that he was debriefed for 2.5, 3 hours, right? The goalpost was don't talk to the police at all.
Whatever happened to that rule? Whatever happened to that rule, Bank? Whatever happened to you can't talk to the police like you told Thugger, but you ain't tell Thugger. You ain't tell Thugger he was wrong. Just like them niggas ain't tell you was wrong. The only way we gonna grow, is if people hold us accountable for our rights and wrongs. For our wrongs. Hold us accountable. I don't care about like it or not. Hold a nigga accountable.
Lawyer up. That's not what Thug did. He tried to finesse the police. And doing his interview with Bank, Bank asked him, why do you young niggas think that y'all can finesse law enforcement? These niggas got degrees in psychology. They have degrees in criminology. These motherfuckers have degrees in all things necessary to get you to trip you up, to make you comfortable, to trip you up, to make you say or admit something that they can use and nail somebody else to the stake. What make you think that you so motherfucking smooth where you can bro, you ain't known for being, you're a rapper. We have rappers now trying to claim to be Michael Eric Dyson and Cornell West. You niggas is rappers, bro. We now know the gig is up. You niggas is not the.
Come on, man.
The gig is up, bro. Big Bank, you took your ass to Miami, only to allow 6ix9ine to do with you what he wanted to do with you to begin with. He only wanted to interview. What is your 6ix9ine? And it came out. 6ix9ine wanted to do the interview with him. Why? He wanted to use you to convey a message to Atlanta. He wanted to use you to convey a message to all of the Atlanta rappers who were critical about what he did. That's it.
Did he achieve that? What he set out to do?
Yeah, you know what happened, right? So listen, it was real combative at first, right? At first it was back because 6ix9ine wanted to use his jumbotron. He wanted to use the big he wanted to use that monitor to illustrate his points, right? Bank wasn't feeling that. So Bank fought back against that. I think about halfway through the interview, I think that 6ix9ine knew that he wasn't going to get anywhere in that conversation if he was trying to use that fucking big ass TV. So I think the switch flipped in his mind before it hit Bank's mind. I think 6ix9ine knew that he wasn't going to use that monitor to crack jokes and make a spectacle.
So he had to run the audible.
So he had to run the audible, right? He had to go huddle up, right? He ran the audible. This is what makes it so sweet. The nigga ran the audible in his own mind.
He cold now.
Right. So he said, well, listen, you're not going to let me get the monitor off on you. You're not going to let me illustrate this shit on Jumbotron because I'm going to blow up the shit that you saying is not true on this motherfucking Jumbotron.
So we going to get this off me.
Bank's trying to hear that shit. So I think once 6ix9ine realized I'm not going to be able to use the antics. I'm not going to be able to use all of the hoopla and all the bells and whistles, right? Right? I think that 6ix9ine built this set specifically for this moment. I think he wanted to expose the hypocrisy in the Atlanta's hip hop scene for the whole world to see. I think this whole set was built out specifically for the purpose of getting the voice of Atlanta to Miami to do just what he did. And he accomplished his goal. How can you say he didn't? I paid you to come to my house in Miami. You got out your bed, you got on the airplane, or you got in the Sprinter, either one, I don't know. And you came to Miami, you came to my house, and you interviewed me. Yep. And then you took the interview back to Atlanta. The first people who watching this interview, Young Thug, 21 Savage, Gunna, and the whole Atlanta hip hop elite. That's the first people who pay attention to this.
Let me ask you some real shit, bro. If you bank right now, after doing that interview right there, if you bank, how could you redeem yourself from people saying, "Hey, bro, you should have did that interview"? How do you redeem yourself now?
I don't think so. So when you have to know who Bank is in order to kind of like really appreciate what I'm about to say. Bank doesn't have to redeem himself because Bank now is a podcaster.
Correct.
Right? So all he has to say is the truth. The truth of the matter is I've transitioned from the old me. I'm media now, so as a media personality,
he can't use that. That boy Bank can't use that without apologizing. He gotta apologize, or he gotta construct it in a way where as though the people understand, because he just can't move past a situation like that. No.
As a person who moves and shakes in the highest levels according to Complex, this nigga's top 20.
Yeah, that's big.
He top 20. Right. Man. So listen, so if I was Bank, I would tell all the naysayers, shut the fuck up. Because I'm doing my job. Don't you niggas see that I'm something? I'm number 13. Shut the fuck up.
Like this no more.
I ain't in the kitchen no more. I transitioned. Big Bank has officially signed his motherfucking street renunciation form.
When you show it on the screen.
Yeah, so Big Bank, he's officially a podcaster now. Because of the real nigga Bank, you didn't violate the streets by interviewing 6ix9ine. You know that.
But there's nothing wrong with being a podcaster. If that's what you in now,
we in 6ix9ine. You know that.
But there's nothing wrong.
The real nigga Bank. You didn't violate the streets by interviewing 6ix9ine. You know that.
But there's nothing wrong with being a podcaster. If that's what you in now, we in it.
But see, Bank has it made so psychologically, right? So here's what's going on with Bank. From a physical standpoint, from a reality-based standpoint, Bank is a podcaster through and through. We verified that with Complex. Complex recognized him as one of the top 35 media personalities. Hip-hop media power.
And academics say he should be number 5.
And actually, I value Act's opinion. So at top 5. So according to popular opinion, Big Bank, nobody said that Big Bank should be on that list. There's 35 motherfuckers on it. Nobody said that Bank shouldn't be on that list. And everybody who I've talked to said that Bank should be higher because of the interviews he's landed and because of the interviews that we know he got coming, right? He got some of the biggest interviews as you can ever imagine on the horizon. That's really going to shut the motherfucking internet down. That is what it is. But hey, listen, man, Bank, the only response that he should have to the criticism of people saying that he violated the same way they said Kodak Black violated is, I'm in media now. I don't have to answer to you niggas. Who the fuck are y'all?
So what would be a benefit of Bank if he went on a media run like you just did?
He gonna have to. What the fuck you mean?
Right now, this climate.
No, no. Hold on, no. He's gonna have to go on a media run because he can't go on his own podcast and interview himself about what he did, and he can't explain the nuances between how what he did was right and like how what Kodak Black did was wrong. Kodak Black.
Hold on, I gotta pause you right there. You put Big Bank in the same basket as Kodak Black, bro?
Yes. Yes, because a violation is a violation no matter who commits it, and that's the problem. Niggas playing selective politics. So niggas in Atlanta are gonna be scared to call bank out because bank is bank.
Don't play with you.
He ain't gonna play with you. So motherfuckers in Atlanta are gonna be scared to say, hey, bank, I don't know about that, brother. You may have went too far. I saw him and heard him say that a couple of years ago that Young Thug and 21 Savage and somebody else said you should interview 6ix9ine. I don't motherfucker. Show me the proof.
I still don't think people should critique him like that.
And listen,
he's in this world now, the media world.
I ain't trying to hear that shit.
He here now.
I don't hear that shit. Because bank and the people who bank fuck with, either up close and personal or from afar, they all said that Kodak Black was wrong for taking $1 million to record the song.
16 bars.
16 bars. So he got $1 million to do a song with 6ix9ine, and he dissed 6ix9ine in the motherfucking verse. Bank, how much money
did you get?
How much money did 6ix9ine have to give you to give up your motherfucking principles?
20 ball.
How much money did 6ix9ine have to pay you to cash in on the gangster shit? Say fuck it.
50,
Me and Kodak Black brothers.
50,000.
Y'all look alike, but now y'all really for sure brothers. I don't want to hear no criticism of Kodak Black ever again outside of the fact that he one of the dumbest motherfuckers in the history of hip hop because he keep on getting himself locked up for dumb shit. But when it comes to that, Kodak Black did a song with 6ix9ine. I don't want to hear that shit from nobody in Atlanta because you Atlanta motherfuckers, y'all have given up the right to call anybody out for anything because everything y'all been criticizing the motherfucker for doing over the last 15, 20 years, we've come to find out y'all the biggest violators of all the shit y'all pointing the finger at other motherfuckers for. And then what makes it so hypocritical is that you niggas are in real time saying niggas is hoes and saying niggas is rats and saying niggas ain't real. Why in the dark recesses of y'all mind, you niggas is doing that shit they doing and worse. And then y'all so motherfucking slow. You neck bone eating ass niggas is so slow that you got niggas like 21 Savage coming out and admitting that y'all knew that this shit was going on the whole time. Listen, bro. What 21 Savage did when he tweeted that, when he X'd that, we call it Twitter, Twitter, he X'd it. When 21 Savage X'd that, when he made that post on X, when he said, hey, listen, we've been knew that Gunna was a rat when he rat the first time.
Let's put that to the side.
We've been knew that QCP was a rat, but we covered it up because to save face for the city of Atlanta and because that money was on the flow. So what that means is the money and the power and the access comes before the principles and the rules of the streets.
That's why
Why you ain't just say that then? Why you ain't just say that? And when it came time for y'all to judge what somebody else was doing, the Boston Richies, even the 6ix9ines, when it came, because this shit they was doing, this shit happened long before 6ix9ine ever became a rapper. The violations that were happening in Atlanta, they existed before 6ix9ine ever met anybody from 9 Trey. So y'all been covering up. Y'all didn't even have enough grace or understanding to kind of like take the high road when it came to 6ix9ine. Y'all niggas just jumped straight in full gangster. Come to find out, you niggas was doing worse than what 6ix9ine was doing, and y'all was covering it up while at the same time pointing the finger and laughing and criticizing and ridiculing other people.
So now it ain't funny no more.
Now it ain't. That's why. Now it ain't funny no more. Now it ain't. It ain't. Joke. Now the jokes on y'all. It ain't funny no more. Man, you can't do that, bro. The Bible, the Old Testament talks about this shit.
Come on, man. These gangsters, bro. These are gangsters, bro. Gangsters in real life. Gangsters do what the fuck they want to do, dog. You know how they
Hey, listen. We ain't talking about whether a nigga gonna kill a nigga or not. We ain't talking about whether a nigga do something to a nigga or not. We ain't talking about that. We beyond that. Let's be real. Let's be reasonable. We grown men. We talking about motherfuckers being hypocrites. A hypocrite is a motherfucker who professes to do one thing with his mouth, but the whole time he's doing something different. So you professing and you kicking all this street shit. Fuck all the. You kicking this street shit. You kicking this real nigga Monday morning quarterback shit. But at the same time, you niggas is doing the same shit 6ix9ine did and worse. And y'all covering it up. Atlanta media covering it up. You need the ATL top 20s to cover it up. You need the motherfucking the big facts to cover it up, right? You need the motherfucking big bank to cover up all this shit. Big bank, you know that you soft pedaled those interviews with 21 Savage.
You did.
You know you soft pedaled those interviews with Thug.
Is he wrong though? He know these folks.
He's wrong because if you're professing to be a genuine media,
That's the only reason why you wrong, Bank. And I don't want you to think I'm coming at you, I'm disrespecting you. I'm not. I just want you to understand what you professed through the years since you've been on media, and I understand you changed. We all gotta change. But you didn't just give Gucci that grace a week and a half ago. So you can't do that. And you know that as an OG. You know that. Come on, bro.
personality, right? You can't be soft pedaling these niggas when you know they did wrong, right? Even if you don't personally believe it, and even if you have a friendship with them, because you are a media personality and because you have been voted as one of the most powerful people in hip hop media, you can't do what you did and justify it and expect motherfuckers to digest that shit and eat it just because you a motherfucking gangster. That ain't how that shit work.
All right, dog. So the theme around all of this shit seems to be rat. Okay, I want to know the DOGFACE term for rat. What's rat in your definition?
Well, there's a couple of different terms, right? I think so. There's a couple of different definitions of what snitching and ratting is. The primary definition is when you are engaged in criminal activity with somebody else, right? You're actively, knowingly engaged. Like if I'm selling dope with you, right? And we commit the crime together. If we get caught and I tell on you to save my own skin, that's ratting. If we go on a rad, if we go on a drill, right? And we kill somebody, we shoot somebody. If we get caught, if I tell on you, then that's ratting. That is the quintessential definition of what ratting is. Ratting is not Miss Johnson looking out the window, seeing somebody steal your car and then calling the police. Because she hasn't played, she didn't raise her right hand and pledge allegiance to the streets. So she's just an observer of something criminal happening and she's calling the reporter. She has no obligation or responsibility to keep the G code or keep a street principle because she's not a part of the fucking streets. That's ratting. What 6ix9ine did can qualify as an example of ratting. What Young Thug did in terms of allowing himself to be interviewed, that's another example because they are hardliners.
But the thing about it, it's not near so much about that and that with the and the joint with the DA. But y'all for listen, y'all not getting the point that Thug set Woody up. Thug was on the phone with the cop. Told the cop to call Woody. Woody ain't want to answer the phone because he don't want Thug to think nothing. Thug told Woody to answer the phone. He knew it was the cop.
Them niggas in Atlanta, they were hardliners. Everything is ratting. Sneezing is ratting. Scratching your ass is ratting. Digging up your nose is ratting. If the police say hi to you, if you say hi back, that's ratting.
Because now you're talking to the police.
Because now you're talking to the police. If you say anything to the police about anything that has anything to do with criminal activity, right? If you do anything other than lawyer up, that's ratting.
Should the word rat be removed from the whole conversation because it started as a mafia term? However, people in the mafia rat each other all the time.
Biggest rats. Let me give you niggas a history lesson. Not you, but let me give the general audience a history lesson. When you study La Cosa Nostra, the 5 families of New York, distinct of ours. When you study that shit, right? Those Italian and Jewish gangsters, they hated black people.
Call those moolies, right?
Moolies, spicks, spades, niggas. The nigga was a kind way. Listen, when the Italians and the Irish and the Jewish mobsters calling us nigga, that's one of the nicer names they called us. Think about it. That's one of the nicest things they said about us, bro. They call us all kind of shit. So listen, when you study the history of the mob in New York, when you look at Harlem And we look at Harlem was the black controlled section of New York. It's where the niggas moved and operated from the 20th century to the 21st century, right? Let's go so from the 1900s, right? From the early 1900s, I'm talking about 1920s, 30s, 40s, Billie Holiday,
Yes.
the jazz, the Harlem Renaissance
Ella
era,
Fitzgerald.
right? Ella Fitzgerald, Dizzy Gillespie, right? All that, right? The mafia, when they tried to take over Harlem, specifically the Dutch Schultz of the world, Jewish mobster, when they couldn't outman, outgun, outmurder Bumpy Johnson and Malcolm St. Clair, these are real life people. When they couldn't use force to push them out, they incorporated the police. They used the police, they used their judges, they used their prosecutors who were on their payroll to break up black control of Harlem just so they can take over the drug trade and the prostitution trade and the numbers trade in Harlem.
So the game.
The mafia, the biggest rat. This rat ain't nothing new. The mafia showed nigga. Listen, the shit that we do, we learned that shit from white people. How to be a rat, we learn how to be a rat from the mafia. We learned how to be a rat from the fine families in New York. They taught us how to call the police on your ops.
The term even come from the mafia.
Yes,
That's their term.
that's their term. That's their. Listen, when we on the slave plantation and somebody told Massa, they finna run Massa, we didn't call them rats. I don't know what we call them, but we didn't call them rats. The term of calling somebody who snitches or cooperates with the police a rat or a snitch or a fink, those are Italian terms. Those are Yiddish Jewish
What's
terms.
it called though? You know what?
They call it rats because a rat is the lowest life form on earth. You have rats and you have maggots. Rats and maggots all operate in the same space. So a rat is considered the lowest, sneakiest.
Why not call them cockroaches? Cockroaches been around before Christ.
See, cockroaches is gangster. It's hard to kill
They've been
them.
here forever.
They've been here forever. So cockroaches is prehistoric, dinosaur era ass shit. A rat, we look at what a rat does. See, cockroaches ain't sneaky. That's why. A cockroach ain't.
They're like, here's what it is.
Bitch, what's happening, bitch? Right? A rat not gonna let you step on it. You know why? Because a rat is trying to go undiscovered. A rat wants to sneak around and operate where things happen, where food is dropped, where things are going on, and want to go under.
So you can't call them cockroaches, because cockroaches a little bit more gangster than the rat, then, right?
Cockroach, like, bitch, what's happening, bitch? What you want? I ain't going nowhere.
And we deep.
Light on, light off. See, rats move around
That makes sense.
in the darkness.
I like that.
And they quietly sneak up and listen to shit and hear shit and then carry shit back. They carry disease back like they carry information back. So that's why rats operate in the sneaky fashion. They sneak up on you, they hear shit, they grab shit, and they sneak off and tell on your ass.
Let me ask you this, bro. Does 6ix9ine get the most flack for being the first rapper to cooperate?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And is it fair? Hey, listen. Motherfuckers like to point the finger at 6ix9ine. As
6ix9ine wasn't the first rat to rap in hip hop. It's been going on. People just want to listen to people. People been saying allegedly Fat Joe and Rick Ross and 50 Cent, etc., etc., etc. He wasn't the first person, so I don't know why y'all keep saying it.
as if ratting has something to do with it, or as if ratting started with hip hop or ratting started with him. No, hey, Big Bank, I got a news flash for you, Bank. If you want to call somebody a rat, you ain't got to go to New York to do it. If you want to call somebody a rat, all you got to do is come out your motherfucking condominium and look around your home city. There's plenty of rats. You don't believe me? Look at all the ratting that we discovered took place when we watched the YSL trial. We watched the YSL trial on TV. We watched all those niggas who we learned had been ratting on shit 7, 8, 9, 10 years. We've seen Lil Woody. Lil Woody been ratting since Jesus walked the earth. Right? We watched the shit. Ain't none of the people. See, the difference between them Italians and them Irish mobsters and the motherfucking Jewish mobsters is once they discover you a rat, they gonna kill your motherfucking ass. They gonna kill you.
They don't play.
They gonna kill you. They don't play. Atlanta, all them red ass niggas that we discovered from the YSL trial, them niggas is hosting parties, dropping mixtapes.
Bob told us that they were going to test the alien craft.
That's a fact.
Y'all fucking
Winning.
and winning and having a good time. And they doing podcast interviews. They doing podcast interviews. Ain't listen, we ain't heard nobody going to witness protection program. We ain't heard nobody relocating to Mississippi. Niggas ain't listen. These niggas in Atlanta is some of the biggest gangster rats in the history of the world.
Oh,
yeah,
it ain't like that, bro.
yeah. I don't give a fuck what you're
We
saying.
did Atlanta.
Listen, when we watched you niggas tell on TV, we watched you niggas. You watched it. Me and you was watching this together, motherfucker. We watched these niggas on TV telling, right? These niggas are back in the hood right now. All you gotta do is go to Magic City, go to Vivid, right? And the same niggas that we just saw on TV, go to any restaurant in Atlanta, go to any real good bar, any real nightclub.
No, man, look, what happened to Atlanta? Atlanta was the music capital, hoes. Now the rat capital.
I'm gonna tell you.
I don't like it.
Hold
I don't like it, though.
on. Atlanta is not the rat capital, right? The reason why Atlanta is getting this stigma is because the niggas in the streets, the real street niggas, they allow rappers to get famous, to get money, to get influence and get power. They allowed those rappers to present themselves to the world as if they were the king of Atlanta. Them rap niggas, the 21 Savage, the Lil Babies, the Rollos, the QCPs, all these niggas have a street element to them. All of them was in the street, but they were not the most dangerous niggas in the city of Atlanta.
Right.
They were not the biggest gangsters in the city of Atlanta, but the street niggas sat back while the people in the world of entertainment presented themselves to the whole world as if they were the kings of the streets. So when they start to fall off and when they start to get uncovered as violators of the same principles that they pointed at another motherfucker about, now y'all gotta take the same ridicule that y'all was giving other motherfuckers. So the rappers, Gucci Mane was never the biggest gangster in the city of Atlanta. 21 Savage was never the biggest gangster in the city of Atlanta. Your Lil Baby was never the biggest gangster in the city of Atlanta. Even though all these guys come from the street, they were never the kings of their circumstance. Rollo, out of all these niggas that we talked about, Rollo may have been
The hustler, top hustler.
Future was never the biggest gangster. Gucci Mane was never the biggest gangster. Let me see. This is what I know based on me coming down here since Moses walked the earth, right? Future, drug addict. Gucci Mane, drug addict, robber. Lil Baby, hustler. Lil Baby wasn't no brick man. He wasn't the biggest. And I'm not saying that these guys don't have street in them and they didn't bust their moves, because I know that all of them did to a lesser or greater extent. But those niggas don't represent the true, genuine heartbeat of the streets of Atlanta. But the motherfuckers in the street of Atlanta, y'all allowed these niggas to present themselves to the whole world like they were them niggas, like they ran y'all city.
What about Bank, though?
Bank a gangster.
Yeah, okay.
Bank a gangster. He ain't no. That's why I'm saying, Bank, this might be too much for you. You might need to. So listen, watch this, right? So Bank did something that I found funny, right? Watch this. When Bank was interviewing 21 Savage, he asked Savage one question that really struck the whole interview.
What's that?
Savage, since when you start talking like this? Since when you start putting yourself and allowing yourself to get dragged into conversations like this, don't none of this shit with YSL and YFN, right? Don't none of this shit have nothing to do with you. You know all these people, but you 21 Savage. You didn't even have to put yourself in the middle of trying to mediate what was going on between Gunna and Thug. You could have just kept quiet. You get your own U visa issues to fight. And even then, We don't got the full facts on that, but niggas who I know Savage is a thorough nigga. Don't nobody who I know say Savage is anything other than what he is. The U Visa thing is news because it's news, but I haven't heard, or I don't know of anybody who's ever said that Savage was anything other than a stand-up nigga. So I ain't even gonna put that on him because I just don't know. I know a lot of people down here, right? But when Big Bank asked Savage, bro, you're normally quiet when it comes to shit like this. Why'd you start talking? Why'd you put yourself in the middle of this shit? Bank, you're normally quiet. You're normally reserved. You normally don't get involved with this shit. And if you do, a nigga never know you involved in it. He had the dark hand. Big Bank like the black hand. Like the mob. Mm-hmm. So with the shit called Godfather, yes. The black hand. The black hand. Big Bank is the black hand of Atlanta. Anything you want to happen, he can get it there for you, right? Big Bank, maybe this might be the wrong thing for you to be into because prior to you doing big facts, prior to you getting into Bank, you Hollywood, bro. You a movie star now. You went to the street, to the movies, and then you progress to you went to podcasting. So is it Bank? You gonna be in it, or you ain't gonna be in? You can't have one foot in, one foot out, Bank.
You think he can get better with the actual interviewing style and stuff, or you think that's just who he is?
He gonna have to.
There's room for growth, though, right?
Hey, listen, he gonna have to. He gonna have to get better. And it's not about he knows how to articulate himself. He knows how to communicate. What it is psychologically, he's sitting across looking at these niggas and he's saying to himself, this is what Bank is saying to himself. You niggas some bitch ass niggas. You niggas in violation. I'm gonna be Bank. When Bank sat across from 21 Savage, what Bank really wanted to say was, what the fuck did you gotta do with any of this shit? Nigga, you if you would have stayed the fuck out of this shit, a nigga would have never known that you knew that all this rat shit was going on. Yeah, you boo. So what the fuck is you doing? But he didn't want to embarrass him. He didn't want to pull his whole card. So Bank wanted to say. When Bank was sitting across from Young Thug, what Bank wanted to say was this here.
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Nice. Me and I just built an app.
Hey, boss. Making a code. Interesting. Can it generate reports?
Boy, you the stupidest, slowest, goofiest nigga in the world.
That's what you felt he wanted to say?
That's what the fuck he wanted to say. You a retarded nigga. What you on that jail phone call? You know these calls are recorded. You know why you know? Because it says these phone calls are recorded. Be careful, my nigga.
That shit went out to the world.
These phone calls that you're talking on are recorded. You a stupid nigga. What the fuck is wrong with you? I thought you was a gangster. Why is you sitting on a jail phone call talking about all this old shit? I've been trying to defend you in all of the city of Atlanta. I've been trying to use my gangster. I stepped into the world of media because I knew you niggas was doing whole shit, and I knew you niggas was gonna need me. People watch me not because I'm the most articulate person in the world. People watch me and they listen to me because I'm Big fucking Bank, nigga. And you niggas know I've been stepping on shit for a couple of decades around this bitch. When you niggas was pissing on yourself, I around this bitch getting millions of dollars and fucking over niggas. And y'all all know it. Y'all need me. See, Bank, he got it fucked up. Bank, you don't need these rappers. These rappers need you. They need to sit down on your podcast and have you, like you a preacher, you a priest. Father, forgive me for I have sinned. These niggas is sitting, they coming before Bank on perspectives and bowing down. He's throwing holy water on them.
He's the Club Shay Shay of Atlanta. You agree with that?
Yeah. Listen, Big Bank is a podcast priest. These niggas are coming to Big Bank. Please, Big Bank, please interview me. If you say that what I did is okay, then the general public and the city of Atlanta, I'm stamped. So Big Bank is a priest, pastor. He bishop, cardinal.
none of my videos and no type of way. What I'm saying is, you gotta hold some people accountable. You gotta articulate it a certain way sometimes because you don't want the general public to look at you like you fake. Now, I know you gotta make your money, you gotta feed your family, you gotta do what you gotta do, but
Big Bank is the Pope of Atlanta. He's a media Pope. Big Bank in ATL top 20. Let me tell you something. If ATL top 20 was to tell the truth about what the fuck going on down here in Atlanta, ATL top 20 is the most important person in media in the city of Atlanta. If ATL top 20 was to open his mouth, if he was to threaten to open his mouth, they'd kill him. They're JFK, ATL top 20. ATL top 20 know all the dirty little motherfucking secrets about what's going on in the music business in Atlanta. ATL top 20, Big Bank. They need both of them. If ATL top 20 and Big Bank were to open their mouth and tell the truth about what the fuck going on down here, they would shut the entire economy down. They would shut the entire entertainment economy down in the state of Georgia, not just Atlanta.
Well, look, I'm gonna say this before we move from 6ix9ine and Bank. A lot of people don't know this, man. I set up the Big Bank and 6ix9ine interview.
You did.
That was my work, just like I did the Vlad TV.
Just like you did, man.
Like I did, George.
Like you did,
I don't like popping it, man, but
yeah, let me do it for you. Just like you. Listen, the Bank 6ix9ine interview, you made that happen.
I did.
You ain't got to tell me. I was right there next to you. I was in your office. Fuck are you talking about? I'm listening to it. I just don't speak on it because it ain't my place to speak on.
I appreciate that too, man. Your professionalism.
Yeah, it ain't my place to speak on that shit. It would have been no Bank interview with 6ix9ine if it wasn't for you. So if Atlanta could blame somebody,
I'm used to it.
It's you.
Working for Vlad. I'm used to the flat and all that.
It was no. It's not just that you helped to construct the interview. The idea of doing it was your idea. Why do people acting like they don't know who the fuck you is?
I don't know. I'm okay with it though. It'll come out.
Hey, listen. ATL top 20, Big Bank. Hey, Big Bank, I'm just talking to you, right? Big Bank. Is you gonna be all the way in, or you gonna get the fuck about this shit? I'm telling you, I've been doing this shit since 2010. I've been doing podcasting and operating in this space, in the YouTube space since 2010. That's 16 years of this shit. Bank, is you gonna be in it or not? You see, you're gonna graduate. You see that you're gonna, because I know you look at his physical condition. Bank he fucked with my man Rashad. They work out together. They jog, work out together. Man, Rashad. Yeah. Rashad used to be Lil Baby's manager before Sayed took over full time.
Okay.
So when the whole thing with 42 Doug happened with the whole thing, Rashad was Lil Baby's manager, right? He worked with the whole Lil Baby management team. Bank transformed himself physically into what you see right now. He was a big guy, fat, roly-poly ass, black ass, butterbean looking ass nigga. Look at him now. He chisels himself up, got himself together.
Nigga like money.
Nigga like money. Hey, Bank, it's either you're going to be in this shit or you ain't. Because in order for you to grow, in order for you to be your best self, one, you got to stop covering up with this bitch ass shit that happened in Atlanta, right? You don't just represent the city of Atlanta. You're from Atlanta, but you don't just represent the city of Atlanta. If you're going to be a media mogul, if you're trying to command the respect and the attention that you are starting to receive, if you want to maintain that, you can't be playing selective politic games. You can't be doing no shit like that. So you're going to do it or you ain't. If you ain't, take your motherfucking hand back to the track. It's a crack house and it's a heroin house. It's a methamphetamine house waiting on your ass somewhere in Georgia. You going to do this shit or you ain't? If you ain't, get the fuck out of our way and stop playing.
They don't want you to know about it.
Hey, did you
What did you say? What did you say? You what? I didn't hear you.
I want the buzz.
Oh, okay.
But we did speak about this. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Bank, man. I feel like he's maneuvering his way around. He's figuring out.
Listen, bro.
Hey,
Hey, so listen. So seriously, right? Hey, Bank. As a you were voted in the top 35 hip hop media personalities in the world. You had people on that list who are not from America, like Trap Lil Ross is not from America. A couple of the other people who I saw, and they were not even they're not black and they're not from America, right? Hey, Bank, your peers have no problem with what and who you have become. The only people who have a problem with who you have become are the niggas you trying to get the fuck away from. You never allow these niggas to size you up. You never allow these niggas to dictate who you are and what you do. Fuck what they talking about.
All right, man. Moving from the 6ix9ine Bank situation, man. We got to talk about something else that's going on crazy. And people be asking me, what does dog think about it? So I'm going to ask you. How do you assess what's going on with Boosie and Aries and how they did Vlad, bro?
Nigga stupid. Assess it. You said there's no. So listen, when you use words like assessment, speculate, theorize, those are words that are associated with things that have some degree of plausible common sense. Lil Boosie, if you feel like you're bigger than the program, if you feel like that you him, all is well. I ain't even gonna argue about that, right? But for you to cut off or source it, you're getting paid more to sit down with Vlad for an hour than you do for a show. Lil Boosie's he charges anywhere between, depending on the size of the club, anywhere between 15 to 25,000, depending on the size of the venue. You're getting paid what you get paid for a show to sit down with somebody who you like to have a conversation about shit, none of which has anything to do with you. You sit down talking to Vlad about other people's business.
Current events.
Other people's business. What? Because they say, well, you podcasters messy. You podcasters always in that nigga business. What the fuck is the Lil Boosie interview with Vlad TV, except that Vlad is asking him about other people's business? So you a chatty patty ass nigga too. Don't be trying to remove yourself and elevate yourself out of this chatty patty category, nigga. Don't plot me. Yeah, you don't plot at me. I'm nigga, you talking about that nigga business. He's asking you, listen, the only value of Boosie with Vlad is that, like Big Bank, Boosie has a street bravado to him. And when he says something, his word resonates with the urban environment. It resonates with the consumers, people who digest and ingest Vlad's content. If you take, did he tell Boosie? Yeah, he told. Is he a real nigga? No, he ain't a real nigga. Is she the fuck ass bitch? It's all you chiming in about somebody else's business.
People might not know this, you know what I'm saying? Behind the scenes, I manage you, right?
Yeah.
So you get a pretty good bag for sitting in front of these cameras. I ain't gonna say what you get, but you do well. That's like me giving you a 25 ball right now, though, bro. Yeah. You do well. But I'm saying it's like me giving you a 25 ball right now for us talking right now. Would you be okay with the 25? Or would you want more because we going crazy?
Hey, listen, so a person's value is calculated by, so when you look at value when it comes to anything, especially in the world of entertainment, your value is consummate to so your value, there's a formula to figure out what a person's value is, right? What you command is what you bring in minus something, because whoever's paying you for something, they have to make some money off of it. So your ability to be able to attract people to come see you or hear you, that determines your value. When you look at the hard numbers of what you're able to produce, when Vlad showed Boosie the scales, when he showed him the numbers, when he showed him the what we call it when you go behind analytics. When he showed Boosie the analytics, it's not like he's hiding the analytics.
Like, hey, bro,
I'm showing you the raw numbers, and you can see what the raw numbers are because you know what a YouTube view pays. You know what the AdSense pays. You know how much I'm making. I don't have some secret
Bro, I ain't trying to be funny. If I brought in $35,000 off our interviews, which Vlad was bringing in on Boosie's, and I'm paying you $25,000, and you see I'm only getting 10, and you're okay with that, respectfully, I ain't gonna want to fuck with you because you don't want to see me win. Okay. It's all about you.
Okay. So listen, it's not just about the money. It's about the access, and it's about the influence. Because beyond the see, you can't just. So money is always a deciding factor when it comes to niggas, because we some money hungry, money grubbing ass niggas. So we always gonna look at the bottom line. So listen, so it's pocket, it's degrees of this shit. Let's just break it all down. So you have it's pocket watching gone wrong here, right? This is what we have here, right? You have Boosie saying that my value is more than what you're paying me based on what I'm seeing people say. What I'm seeing people say in the comments, right? Your value is not what the fuck goes on in those comments, because people come by and large to see your content. Those people are people who like you, but they keep on coming back. But never confuse the people in the comments with what your true, genuine value is, because those are people who are Boosie friendly in the comments. You're taking somebody who's already predisposed to you. You're taking what they're saying about your importance to this platform, and you're using that to negotiate on. No, nigga, this is business. Business is based on numbers, accruable, tangible, observable, calculable numbers. When you look at the fucking numbers, genius, I'm showing you the scale here. I'm showing you the analytics.
I'm being completely transparent.
Right? You can Google how much a YouTube view makes. You can Google this shit.
Chat GPT.
You can chat GPT. Hold on.
Let's do it right now.
Let's do it right now.
We got time.
$100.
For 100,000?
100,000 YouTube views pays $100. And there's pay scales depending on what level you on. So it's between, depending on, it says for monetized YouTube channel, 100,000 views usually pays somewhere between $100 to $300, depending on your niche, your audience, your content style. We already know that the urban media niche pays the least amount of all different categories on YouTube, because they value what happens in urban media. They value that less. They devalue it to make it seem like that what we're saying and what we do has lesser value than other forms of entertainment, politics, so on and so forth. So when he shows you the numbers of what you were making, it made me feel like you was pressed about something. You ain't getting booked. The bookings is slowed down. Hey, Boosie, let me tell you what's really supposed to be happening here. You're really supposed to be on tour with B2K, Lil Romeo, Lil Bow Wow, and the Brat, nigga. You really supposed to be opening it up, because you ain't even on no motherfucking tour. Lil Boosie, you really supposed to be on tour with B2K, Mario, Romeo, Lil Bow Wow, and Chingy, nigga.
You wipe him down. Wipe me down.
I don't give a fuck what he made. These young niggas don't give a fuck about that. Lil Boosie, you supposed to be opening up for Lil Bow Wow and Brat and Chingy. That's what you supposed to be doing. I don't know if a nigga told you now, nigga, you not on tour. Lil Bow Wow on tour. B2K on tour.
They run it up, man.
They running up bad.
About to run the fuck niggas out the city.
Fuck nigga, get some up. Hey, we gonna talk about it. Duck take word law around. Hey. Time for y'all fuck niggas go. Straight up. Straight like that. These niggas finna go or pay. All that shooting video down, finna stamp this shit with hood up there right now. Come on, school. Come on, school. All my niggas doing. Hey, y'all see this shit? All did the real face of the A. Finna stamp this shit right now. Ain't no more of that shooting video down here, all that shit. None of y'all rap pussy ass nigga, y'all ain't paying homage to the tape. All that shit out the motherfucking door from now on. So all that out of town shit, like you coming out here, moving out here, working and shit, that shit a rap, nigga. This day forward, nigga. The tape, that's on everything.
Get your fucking ass on!
Stop, chase! It's out drive now! Chase!
Before YSL, before 4PF, before prosecutors started pointing at rap crews as gangs, Atlanta already had one of the most feared names in the city. They called themselves Duct Tape. And in Atlanta, that name meant one thing: danger. To the streets, it was a warning. To the industry, it was a crew you didn't want problems with. This is the story of Duct Tape Entertainment, how they built their name, their beefs, and their legacy.
He's in the G, fuck with me. M13s, and the 4s, and the V, fuck with me.
Leave that. It's a nation of.
Duct Tape Entertainment, better known as DTE, started in Atlanta in the mid-2000s. It wasn't just a rap label. It was a crew with heavy street ties. At the top was Big Bank Black, respected as a true OG in the city. Alongside him was Alley Boy, raw, unpredictable, with a voice that matched the streets. And then came Trouble, the youngest of the trio, who turned that reputation into a career.
I want to rap, cause wasn't nobody rapping to me. And everybody who was rapping, they were talking about bricks, dope. I ain't want to be like that, you know what I mean? I want to tell like what's raw going on in the street. They what really going on. All these niggas ain't got no bricks. These niggas robbing.
DTE wasn't polished like mainstream Atlanta rap. They weren't chasing radio hits. They were documenting what life really felt like on the West Side. Alley Boy's mixtapes gave him a cult following. Trouble's breakout records like Bussin' and Green Light became street anthems. Even without Billboard numbers, Duct Tape was feared and respected. In the city, their reputation carried more weight than most platinum plaques.
Trouble here, I'm ready to get it poppin'. I see a few trill niggas in here, and I see a lot of bad bitches. I'm glad that y'all came from the front where it's more visible. If you know you's a trill nigga, and you know you's a bad bitch, and you know it, let me hear you say, damn right. Damn right! You's a trill nigga, and you know it, you's a bad bitch, and you know it, let me hear you say, damn right. Damn right!
Duct Tape had industry ties. They worked with Future, Rocco, and other Atlanta names. But they were never industry-friendly. Alley Boy was notorious for beefs, from throwing punches in clubs to dissing rappers in tracks. He even went at Jeezy, one of the biggest names in the city at the time. Trouble also carried that energy, constantly in the middle of street drama but earning respect for never backing down. DTE's reputation made alliances risky. Rolling with Duct Tape meant you were choosing a side. Like many street-rooted crews, the law was always close by. Members of DTE faced charges over the years, from assaults to weapons to drug cases. Trouble spent time behind bars, going in and out of prison, even as his music career gained momentum. Atlanta police and federal investigators often compared Duct Tape to the street organizations that came before them. Long before YSL's Ryko, crews like DTE showed how blurred the line was between rap labels and street life. Out of the entire crew, Trouble was the one who broke through. Linking up with Mike Will Made It, he got cosigns from Drake, The Weeknd, and other big names. But even at the height of his career, the streets never left him. In June 2022, Trouble was shot and killed in Atlanta. For Duct Tape, it was more than losing an artist. It was losing the face of their movement, the one who carried their name into the mainstream without ever watering it down.
My biggest thing with Trouble's situation, bro, it fucked with me because I just know how player Lil Bro was, bro. Like, far as, he ain't never gotta have no pressure about no female, you know what I'm saying? And it was just one of them situations like people think he was dealing with a random girl. Trouble had been knowing the girl like 10, 12 years, you know what I'm saying? So she wasn't random, you know what I'm saying? So it was more like, bro, that shit just hurt a nigga like bad. She like, shit get hurt a nigga, bro. You know what I mean? Just to see, look,
Take your time, man. Take your time.
Duct tape never became a household rap brand like Quality Control or YSL. But in Atlanta, the name still carries weight. Big Bank Black went on to host one of the city's biggest radio shows. Alley Boy is still known as one of the rawest rappers of his generation, and Trouble lives on as one of the realest voices Atlanta ever had. DTE proved you don't need Billboard hits to make history. Sometimes respect in the streets is more powerful than a platinum plaque. This is Daily Plug, breaking down the stories the streets don't forget.
Hey.
Lord forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack making backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the Vato speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby May. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
Y'all understand? I can put the whole city together right now. This big bank, man. I can get a shooter from every motherfucking neighborhood right now. And nut up if I wanted to.
And we've been fucking with these niggas since 05. This ain't no new shit.
What you say about to do? About to run the fuck niggas out the city.
Y'all fuck niggas get somewhere. Hey, we want to talk about it. Duct tape word law around. Hey, time for y'all fuck niggas go. Straight up. Straight like that. Okay. These niggas finna go or pay. All that shooting video down, finna stamp this shit with hood up there right now. Come on, school. Come on, school. All my niggas doing. Hey, y'all see this shit? All this the real face of the A. Finna stamp this shit right now. Ain't no more of that shooting video down here, all that shit. None of y'all rap pussy ass nigga, y'all ain't paying homage to the tape. All that shit out the motherfucking door from now on. Cash out. All that out of town shit, like you coming out here, moving out here, working and shit, that shit a rap, nigga. This day forward, nigga. The tape, that's on everything.
Get your fuck ass on.
It's out here. Chase. It's out there now. Chase.
Chase these fuck niggas. It's a rap, nigga. Word law around this bitch, nigga.
Passport or something.
The soundtrack now.
Revoking all the
You ain't fucking with the tape, you ain't fucking with shit down here. Nigga. Oh, you gonna need tape. These promoters finna quit booking y'all pussy ass niggas. Straight up.
Hey, go ahead.
Better keep them folks around your ass.
And all the bees
like that.
and the C's
and the G, fuck with me. M13s and the 4s and the V. Fuck with me.
Wow. Leave that. It's a nation of us. Why? We all over the motherfucking nation.
Yeah. We ain't forgot about you. Where your motherfucking paperwork at, nigga? We still ain't saying that shit.
Yeah, what that boy with that paperwork? Well, you ain't straighten that shit out,
When we
Chad.
talk about Big Bank Black,
my brother.
I mean, that's your homie.
That's my brother.
You guys went in together when you did your bid, correct?
Yeah. Like, me and Black, we got, like, Black is my brother from another.
Okay.
Like, I went to prison in 2003, and bro was still out here, he was doing his thing. He like, bro, I got a gift for you. This what this gonna be. I don't give a fuck what it is. We gonna push this music shit. When you get out, we finna go.
Okay.
So we started duct tape while I was in prison. And
so what's up,
we just went from there.
I'm looking at everything with duct tape and what y'all have going on right now, and it's like everything seems so different with y'all right now than from in the past. Do y'all feel like, you know, there's been a big change? Like there's been a change inside?
Just stop whipping ass. That's all. That whole thing different music. You know what I'm saying? We gonna do. I told you nigga, you can't. We need to get the mic now. We ain't gonna bring the mic over to school. Ain't talking school sleep. I'm on.
Yeah.
I told you, we're gonna start whooping name, we're gonna just write these nigga name on the list. And get the money, we're gonna come back and beat that. We'll get the music money. We already got it back.
How was the label, like, how was it even formed? Like, how did y'all come to get together and decide, okay,
It's
y'all want
really not a label, it's a family that's just doing music.
Okay, so how did y'all get started into the music? What made you decide that, okay, we're gonna start a record label?
It's the American way. Shit, that's what all the dope boys started doing. Shit, you ain't trying to get stuck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These niggas talented on the motherfucker too. Sure. Them niggas talented as fuck. So shit, let's figure that out.
Right.
Shit real out here, nigga. Man, it's the season to be in the house with your kids. Come outside, get your money during the daytime. Let me let you know something. Let me get these niggas this game while it's on my mind. Hey, man, this is where I look at it, man. Wall Street open from what, 6 a.m. to like 2 or 4? That's what time the big money being traded, man. That's what time a nigga supposed to be out getting that money, man. Early in the morning to the afternoon, man. All that nighttime shit, let these suckers have that. Ain't never evil at night, for real that. Turn it up, bro.
Y'all meet us in Atlanta on Mason Avenue, Zone 6. This shit got Edgewood implications. We headed to the heart of Atlanta now, or at least what Bank would call it, the heart of the 6. What up, though? It's your Ace Poplar. We back on mob business. Now, over the last 20, 25 years or so, Atlanta has become what I would call the headquarters for Southern hip-hop. Now, some people might say Houston, and I could take that, as there's plenty heavyweights that came out of that city too. But since the late 90s and the early 2000s, Atlanta has definitely made a name for themselves, and in my eyes, have become a city of cliques, especially as the music is concerned. When early on, we would hear the names like So Def and the Dungeon Family, just to name a few. Then as it evolved, we would hear names like D4L and CTE, to even now where we have YSL, YFN, 4PF, the Slaughter Gang. Now, depending how close you had your ear to the streets, it was another group that you would hear of that didn't quite meet the mainstream success of some of those other groups that I mentioned. But even without reaching that mainstream success, some people would still call the members of this group the faces of Atlanta, or Traplanta, or Scamlanta. And that group I'm talking about is going to be a crew by the name of DTE, or Duct Tape Entertainment, or just Duct Tape. Now, a founding member, or the founding member of that group is going to be the person that we're covering today, a man by the name of Rashad Big Bank Black Hosey. Now, Bank and DTE been making a name for themselves in the city and in the industry since the early 2000s, with guys like Trouble, R.I.P. Scoop, and Alley Boy being the faces of the label. And coming from Zone 6, the part of the city that probably got the hottest talent that the city has ever seen, with guys like Future, Gucci Mane, and 21 Savage, just to name a few. Location will work in Duct Tape's favor, but they still will have their work cut out for them. Now, me personally, the first time I remember hearing a label was going to be when Alley Boy dropped the project Definition of Fuck Shit, but the label would start years before that, as Bank would state in an interview with All Hip Hop in 2010, saying originally him and Alley had caught a case together, with that case sending Alley Boy to jail, saying that they was fighting pistol and weed charges, explaining how it was his first case, so he ended up with probation, but it was Alley Boy's 5th offense, so he would end up going to prison for it. And while Alley was locked up serving time for that offense, Big Bank Black would go on to start DTE, or Duct Tape Entertainment. Big Bank Black would even rap under the label, with his most notable project being released in 2003, titled The Godfather, that was narrated by Future, which also featured Future several times, as well as Gucci Mane, Alley Boy, and several other artists. Now, I'm not sure if it was due to the title of that project, but some people in the city would even start calling Big Bank Black the godfather of Atlanta due to his reach and his ability to unite different people from different sections of the city. His career would reach new heights in 2018 when he would go on to star in a semi-reboot of the classic 1972 black exploitation film Superfly. He would star as Q, a somewhat scary character and the leader of the Snow Patrol. And not too long after that, he would link up with legendary Atlanta DJ Scream, and Jade, who actually gave him the name Big Bank, as before that he was just Black, to bring us the podcast that we know today as Big Facts, which I feel is very important, especially Big Bank's part in the podcast, because he's going to be the one asking the questions that the audience will want to ask and that a lot of podcasts and radio hosts won't. Now, in my eyes, DTE didn't reach the heights that they should have and could have, and I don't think it had anything to do with the music. I really just believe that they were just too real and too close to the streets. And at that time, the early 2000s, when it was heavily controlled by record labels, I think that they were very, very careful with who they was letting in the door. But regardless of that, Big Bank Black and the guys from DTE would still go on to make a name for themselves. But y'all make sure y'all hit the red subscribe button and the bell right into this video so y'all know when this real trill spill shit is dropping.
One night you could hear the whole club shouting his name, and the next morning the city was whispering about who pulled the trigger. In Atlanta, that kind of shift was normal because the streets had no pause button, and every move carried a price. Before YSL headlines made the news talk about rap crews like gangs, there was another name stamped heavy in the city. They called themselves Duct Tape Entertainment, and their story was built long before prosecutors started chasing lyrics. To understand how DTE became that feared, you gotta first understand where they came from. Atlanta, in the mid-'80s, was already a city of contradictions, with black wealth sitting right beside projects where families struggled daily. On the east side, areas like Edgewood, Kirkwood, and Decatur were shaping kids who would later shape the sound of the whole South. You could walk past a liquor store in one corner, a church on the next block, and still hear gunshots splitting the air at night. That was the reality Zone 6 kids woke up to, and surviving meant you had to learn fast. The city had divided its police into numbered zones, and Zone 6 became more than just a patrol district. Rappers used that number like a badge of honor, and for people living there it carried weight because it meant you were claiming a side of Atlanta with history. Vice magazine once called Zone 6 the trappest of all possible zones because it had Section 8 apartments, $500,000 condos, and abandoned buildings all mixed together. Kids learned to hustle watching that because the contrast taught them nothing was promised and everything was up for grabs. By the early 2000s, trap music was Atlanta's soundtrack, blasting out of Crown Vics and corner stores every day. Artists like T.I., Young Jeezy, and Gucci Mane were putting their stories on mixtapes, and local DJs kept that culture alive with street tapes. Sites like Live Mixtapes and Dat Piff spread those projects beyond the city, but in Zone 6 it was still hand-to-hand hustle. You had dudes selling CDs out the trunk in the morning, and then hosting a block party at night where the same tracks blasted through speakers. That routine was daily therapy for a community caught between survival and hope. Edgewood Court was one of the places that showed both sides of the story in the rawest way. Creative loafing once described kids playing near bullet-scarred walls while developers built trendy lofts just blocks away. Residents like Nikki Lawson said they knew how to hit the floor when shots rang out because that was survival instinct. At the same time, people looked out for each other, and neighbors threw cookouts where smoke from the grill mixed with the sound of trap beats. That mix of love and violence created the foundation that gave rise to groups like DTE. For young people growing up there, the lessons were not written in textbooks. They were learned outside in real time. Protect your own, show loyalty to your friends, and never look weak in front of strangers. That code shaped kids like Rashad Big Bank Best and Curtis Alley Boy Robinson, who would later become the founders of DTE. They grew up within blocks of each other, surrounded by the same chaos, and both learned early that the streets gave you nothing for free. Jail time was common, funerals were regular, but music gave them a chance to breathe. Atlanta's economy was changing after the recession hit in the late 2000s, and that shift made the grind even harder in Zone 6. The streets had fewer jobs, but more drugs, and music became a way to flip pain into something valuable. Kids idolized rappers who told their truth over hard beats because those songs felt like survival manuals. When Duct Tape Entertainment came onto the scene, they fit that tradition, but carried it with more edge because their story was not polished for radio. They came out raw, the same way the neighborhood was raw. For outsiders, Atlanta was the birthplace of Coca-Cola and the city of the civil rights movement. But in Zone 6, the reputation was different. To locals, it was the engine of trap music, the place where every rapper had to prove credibility before they could claim the city. Crews built from neighborhoods became unofficial record labels, blending family ties with business ideas. That is why when DTE eventually formed, it was not seen as a typical label. It was seen as a survival system that turned into music. The kids who would later call themselves Duct Tape learned from Zone 6 that you had to keep one foot in reality and one foot chasing a dream. That reality was police harassment on one side, gentrification pushing families out on the other, and funerals in between. The dream was building something that could outlast block beefs and hustling arrests. DTE represented both sides perfectly because they were born from an environment that celebrated resourcefulness and punished weakness. Before the name carried fear across Atlanta, it was simply the reflection of a world where contradictions created survivors. The streets of Zone 6 raised many, but one name stood taller than most. Rashad Best, better known as Big Bank Black, came up on Mason Avenue surrounded by hustle and survival. His block was a place where kids dreamed big, but often fell early to trouble. He carried himself with presence even as a young man because people saw leadership in the way he moved. By his 20s, the streets already respected his word more than many older heads. Big Bank was not the type to chase cameras, but his story was written in that neighborhood. Mason Avenue was not Hollywood Boulevard. It was trap houses, liquor stores, and boarded apartments. He learned business through hand-to-hand trades, first in the hustle, then in the bigger moves. That same knowledge later shaped how he ran a label with the same discipline. Before rap made his name public, his reputation was already cemented within Zone 6. Jail became a chapter in his life, like it did for many out there. He spent time behind walls where the noise of Atlanta streets was replaced by the sound of metal doors. Instead of letting it kill his drive, he started shaping ideas that could outlast a sentence. Inside, he thought about more than a hustle. He thought about building something permanent. Big Bank spoke about how duct tape holds things together, and that became his vision. The crew would not just be rappers. It would be a structure bonded like tape itself. When he came home, he carried that plan out with steady confidence. He linked with local promoters and DJs, pushing Duct Tape Entertainment into Atlanta's buzzing underground. Instead of waiting on radio, he focused on grassroots shows and DVDs sold directly to fans. Those DVDs showed real neighborhoods, real faces, and the lifestyle people already knew. That rawness made people feel like DTE was not acting. They were truly living it. In Atlanta, authenticity mattered more than shiny chains, and DTE earned that stamp quickly. Big Bank had connections that reached beyond the streets, which made him stand apart. His networking with labels eventually brought an Atlantic Records distribution deal, a big move for the crew. That deal did not water them down because Big Bank kept control on the direction. He wanted the money to flow, but also the respect to remain intact. For him, credibility was a currency that could not be bought with advances. For him, credibility was a currency that could not be bought with advances. DTE's projects came out with street quality intact. Even under a major system, people knew Big Bank as an OG, but he also carried another side. He was respected for his street authority, yet he became a mentor in front of microphones later. His podcast presence years later showed his ability to move from trap houses to studios. With Big Facts, he sat beside DJ Scream and Baby Jade, talking about culture. He interviewed names like Jeezy, Birdman, and 21 Savage, showing his reach across generations. Younger rappers listened when he spoke.
My husband used to ejaculate prematurely until this.
Okay, so my husband has this fun habit of ejaculating prematurely every time we have sex. I keep telling him it doesn't matter to me if he needs a pill for it, but he was always too embarrassed. Until this. SexRx plus Climax Control by Hims is a compounded medication that revolutionized our sex life. It combines active ingredients for erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation, for stronger erections and longer lasting sex all in one. So he's ready to go whenever.
My hubby is ejaculating so fast, and then he gets so anxious about it, it's starting to feel like a chore.
That used to be me and my husband before I discovered this treatment by him. SexRx plus Climax Control. I swear it saved our sex life. It has tadalafil and early climax treatment, so it helps him stay hard and last longer.
If you're ejaculating early in 2025, don't be ashamed, but know this. SexRx plus Climax Control through Hims combines tadalafil and PE treatment to help men stay hard and last longer.
My hubby is ejaculating so quickly, and then he gets so anxious about it, sex life is starting to feel like a chore.
That used to be me and my husband before I discovered this treatment option by Hims. I swear, it saved our marriage.
The whole process is 100% online. No in-person visits, costs less than a lotto ticket per day, and no insurance required, with free shipping right to your door if prescribed.
Which is more important to you? Do you want to delay your climax to last longer in bed?
Because his story came from proven ground. Even in the height of DTE's run, he was always the glue. When Trouble or Alley Boy brought fire to the spotlight, Big Bank balanced it. He knew how to negotiate, how to calm situations before they turn worse, and how to keep unity strong. Every crew has someone who keeps egos from splitting it apart, and Big Bank was that person. Industry heads called him a businessman, but locals knew him as the backbone of DTE. Without him, the name Duct Tape would not have carried the same respect in Atlanta. His leadership came not from chasing fame, but from understanding responsibility. He carried his Mason Avenue lessons into boardrooms, mixing hood codes with corporate patience. Younger dudes who wanted fast money looked at him and saw discipline winning long term. His message was simple: build loyalty, build trust, and keep your circle tight like tape. For Atlanta, Big Bank represented what an OG should look like when the city kept changing. That balance of street weight and industry strategy made him a blueprint in every sense. Curtis Robinson, who the world came to know as Alley Boy, grew up with hardship written into every step. His childhood was marked by poverty, broken surroundings, and a daily grind that tested his patience. Curtis saw both violence and community in equal measure, and that shaped the way he carried himself later. He understood that survival meant fighting harder than most, and those lessons gave him the voice he would one day put on wax. When people later called him volatile, they overlooked that his fire came from surviving situations others would fold under. Alley Boy spent time in jail during his early years, and those stretches gave him nothing but time to think. Behind bars, he sharpened his mentality and found focus in ways the streets never allowed. The nickname Alley Boy came from where he ran and hustled, moving through alleys that regular folks avoided. He adopted it proudly because it reflected his roots and the places that built him. The name stuck, and by the time he started rapping, people knew him as someone who represented the corners. Alley Boy was never one for polished images because his reputation already lived in the neighborhoods. When he hit the booth, Alley Boy's delivery came out raw, unpolished, and straight from the chest. His early mixtapes were loaded with aggression, and his words painted pictures of the streets. He never tried to make pretty records because his intention was to document real life, not sell fantasies. The projects gained traction locally because listeners recognized their own stories in his verses. By the late 2000s, Alley Boy's name was buzzing heavily in Atlanta's underground circuit. His mixtape, Ninjas in the Alley, introduced him widely, and soon after he became impossible to ignore. Alley Boy was fearless with his music, and his hyper-aggressive style made enemies along with fans. He had no issue calling out heavyweights, even if they had bigger platforms than him. In one of his most notable moments, he went directly at Jeezy in tracks. At a time when Jeezy was one of Atlanta's most powerful figures, that move turned heads. Alley Boy's reputation grew because he was not afraid of consequences when speaking his truth. His approach told the industry that Duct Tape Entertainment was not trying to be industry friendly. They were representing the streets exactly as they lived them, and Alley Boy became the loudest proof. His willingness to throw punches was not limited to the booth because he carried that same energy in person. Club fights, heated interviews, and public beefs all became part of his reputation. Many stories circulated about his temper, and the one with Young LA stood out above all. In 2011, Young LA got a duck tattoo on his face, and the imagery connected to duct tape without permission. To Alley Boy, this was disrespect and misrepresentation, and he made sure the city understood it. Videos surfaced of Young LA being confronted, beaten, and having the tattoo crossed out in black ink. That incident showed how serious Alley Boy was about protecting Duct Tape's name. To him, it was not just branding, it was survival, and the tape symbol carried too much weight to let it slide. That moment told Atlanta that Alley Boy's loyalty to DTE was uncompromising. It was not about chart numbers or fame, it was about the integrity of the brand. For people outside the city, the incident might have looked extreme, but in Zone 6 it made sense. Crews lived by codes that demanded consequences for disrespect, and Alley Boy enforced those codes without hesitation. His actions, whether in music or in the streets, showed he was always going to defend the family. That sense of loyalty made him both loved and feared in the Atlanta rap ecosystem. Despite his wild reputation, Alley Boy often opened up about struggles with his own mind. He spoke about mental health in interviews, admitting that the weight of street life wore heavy. For a man known for volatility, his moments of reflection revealed the depth behind his anger. He talked about depression, about the pressure of trying to provide for loved ones, and about trauma from growing up in violence. These confessions showed that Alley Boy was not simply reckless, but a man wrestling with survival in every way. His honesty connected with people who saw their own struggles mirrored in his words. Alley Boy also spoke about fatherhood and how having children changed his perspective on certain things. He still carried the same aggressive energy, but he tried to balance it with responsibility. In his music and interviews, he emphasized loyalty to family and the importance of leaving something behind. That sense of duty gave layers to his image, even while the public focused mostly on his volatility. He never claimed to be perfect, but he made it clear that loyalty and love for his children anchored him. His ability to show both anger and vulnerability made him stand out in a scene often defined by bravado. When it came to radio play, Alley Boy was rarely the first choice, and he knew it. His songs were not designed for mainstream spins because he never watered down his delivery. While other Atlanta rappers crafted radio singles, Alley Boy stayed true to the sound of the blocks. For every fan he might have lost in the industry, he gained 10 in the streets. He embodied what it meant to be for the streets, not for executives or radio programmers. That authenticity gave Duct Tape Entertainment its uncompromising tone, because Alley Boy set the standard early. He refused to trade credibility for exposure, and that position carried heavy respect within Atlanta. His catalog grew with projects like Definition of Finessin' and War Cry, where his raw voice never softened. Listeners knew that when Alley Boy rapped, he was speaking directly from the same trenches they lived in. His beefs continued across the years, with shots at T.I. and other figures, further solidifying his reputation. Those conflicts never stopped his momentum because his base respected his unwillingness to bow down. The mixtapes became cultural artifacts in Atlanta, capturing a period when aggression defined a large part of the underground. Alley Boy stood as the embodiment of that energy, fierce and relentless. Through all the volatility, Alley Boy remained central to the DNA of Duct Tape. While Big Bank carried the blueprint and authority, Alley brought the reckless heart that fueled the crew's aura. He was not chasing fame, he was chasing respect. And his path proved it over and over. Every altercation, every mixtape, and every stand taken for DTE built the myth larger. People may debate whether his moves helped or hurt the crew in the long run, but nobody denied the impact. His presence made DTE unforgettable because he represented the fearless side of Atlanta's rap culture. By the time Alley Boy's name reached national platforms, his identity was already solidified. He was the rapper who dissed giants, fought for his crew's name, and gave unfiltered reflections of his life. The volatility, the honesty, the loyalty, and the refusal to compromise all lived inside him. For DTE, Alley Boy became the one who made sure nobody forgot that Duct Tape held strong. His reckless energy gave the label its reputation, and his story explained why the crew carried both respect and fear. By the time Alley Boy was shaking the underground with raw energy, the idea of Duct Tape Entertainment was already moving. Big Bank carried the vision, Alley brought the voice, and together they started building the foundation. Their goal was not to chase mainstream approval, but to create something that felt real. Atlanta was crowded with new labels at that time, but DTE had a different type of presence. They carried themselves like a family before they ever called themselves a label. Grassroots hustle drove their early moves because nobody was waiting to hand them industry help. Members of the crew pushed mixtapes by hand, passing CDs at gas stations and corner stores. They pulled up at strip clubs across Atlanta, giving DJs stacks of CDs to break their records. Clubs like Magic City, Strokers, and Blue Flame were testing grounds, and DTE made sure their name rang out. Every party or concert was an opportunity, and they showed up deep, making themselves impossible to ignore. People respected the effort because they saw the crew putting in their own grind. The hustle was not just music, it was culture, with women in the circle running merchandise and tables. T-shirts, DVDs, and posters were designed and distributed by people who lived in the same neighborhoods. DTE's sessions often felt like community events, with artists, friends, and family crowding into small studios. The atmosphere was chaotic, but full of loyalty, and every track recorded came from that bond. They made the label feel like a block gathering, with people bringing food, energy, and stories into the booth. That closeness gave their music an authenticity that polished industry labels could not reproduce. The roster started to grow, and each member carried their own distinct flavor. Big Bank Black was the strategist and OG, providing stability and credibility across the city. Alley Boy became the loudspeaker, his voice carrying the streets into the industry. Trouble was the young gun, full of raw talent and destined to break wider. Veli Sosa added weight as a financial backer and steady figure within the movement. B Green brought a raspy storytelling voice that reminded people of classic Southern grit. Cocaine Judo was unpredictable and entertaining, a chaotic energy that gave life to shows. Pesci worked more behind the scenes with production and beats, shaping the sound that backed their aggression. Duct Tape Dave handled design, photography, and visuals, ensuring the brand identity was sharp and recognizable. Together, the roster looked less like a traditional label and more like a squad built from survival. Mixtapes formed the backbone of their identity, with every release treated like a statement to the streets. Alley Boy's Inward Reckoning stood out as one of the earliest defining projects filled with raw aggression. Trouble dropped early singles like Bussin', which became an anthem across Zone 6 neighborhoods. Each tape pushed the story of DTE further, reminding people that this was not manufactured. Their mixtapes hit the internet through DatPiff and live mixtapes, but the real buzz came from hand-to-hand copies. Car trunks became record stores, and word of mouth made DTE one of Atlanta's most feared crews. The grind eventually caught attention outside of Atlanta, and Atlantic Records entered the picture with a distribution deal. This was a major step for DTE, giving them access to resources beyond the underground. But even with Atlantic involved, DTE did not clean up their image or soften their delivery. Big Bank kept the same philosophy. The music must reflect the streets that built them. While some artists signed to majors lost their grassroots identity, DTE refused to compromise their authenticity. Their projects under Atlantic still carried the same edge, reminding listeners they were built from concrete, not polished offices. Local performances became legend because DTE approached shows with the same intensity as block gatherings. They brought entire neighborhoods into venues, flooding rooms with people who represented the brand. When Alley Boy or Trouble hit the stage, the energy came raw and unfiltered. Fans were not just spectators, they were part of the family, shouting every lyric like it was personal testimony. Those nights gave DTE the aura of being both a rap label and a movement. Nobody in Atlanta doubted their presence once they saw them take over a stage. Even with Atlantic behind them, the crew stayed rooted in Zone 6 traditions. They still passed out CDs, still pushed mixtapes from trunks, and still showed up heavy at strip clubs. For them, mainstream distribution was a tool, but the streets remained their primary audience. People respected that loyalty because they knew DTE would never trade the block for a boardroom. Their growth showed that success could be achieved without losing authenticity, and that message resonated deeply. The early years of Duct Tape Entertainment were not about billboard placements or radio spins. They were about proving that the crew could build something real with their own hands. Every mixtape, every grassroots campaign, and every performance built credibility that could not be faked. The foundation laid during this time became the reason DTE lasted longer than many other short-lived Atlanta labels. From Mason Avenue to Edgewood, people spoke the name Duct Tape with respect and caution. For the crew, those years were about creating more than music. They were about making DTE a name that the city could not erase. Duct Tape Entertainment was not just about Big Bank and Alley Boy, because the crew had depth. Behind every headline figure stood a team that shaped the label's story in important ways. Each member brought their own style, their own weight, and their own energy to the table. Together, they made the movement feel bigger than 2 or 3 names. The myth of DTE was built on that full cast, not only the leaders. Trouble stood out even in those early days because his raw talent was impossible to ignore. Mariel Simonte Orr was younger than most of the crew, but his voice carried maturity. His raps came with clarity, passion, and a truth that reflected his own past. While his full arc came later, even then people whispered about his potential. Songs like Bussin' gave him credibility before the industry ever co-signed him. His hunger separated him from others because he balanced respect for the crew with his personal ambition. Within DTE, Trouble represented the young prodigy destined to carry the torch forward. Another key figure was Veli Sosa, who often moved quieter but carried significant influence. Veli helped finance parts of the operation, keeping resources flowing when the crew needed stability. His reputation was solid both in the neighborhood and the business side of things. While he was not the loudest voice, his role made sure projects could be completed. Money management mattered as much as rapping, and Veli provided that backbone. He also carried himself as a steady presence, giving balance when situations threatened to spiral. For the crew, Veli was a respected older figure who held things together financially. B Green gave the label a distinct sound with his raspy delivery and storytelling approach. His verses felt like conversations from the block because he spoke with grit and lived experience. While he did not always chase spotlight attention, his presence anchored many mixtapes. He became a voice fans recognized immediately, and that gave the crew identity. His songs reminded listeners of older Southern rap traditions, but with the urgency of the streets. B Green's contribution showed that DTE valued depth as much as aggression. His storytelling helped preserve the culture in music, making him an important anchor within the camp. Cocaine Judo brought another dimension entirely because his personality was unpredictable. He had a gift for bringing humor into tense situations, which gave balance to the crew. His presence on tracks and in videos often gave fans comic relief. At the same time, his chaotic energy made him stand out in unpredictable ways. Struggles with addiction added complexity to his story, showing how street life carried its own demons. Judo was not polished, but he was memorable, and that mattered in building a myth. His chaotic but entertaining persona reminded people that DTE was made of real human layers. Pesci worked more behind the scenes, but played a vital role with production and sound shaping. His beats provided the backbone for several projects, giving the crew tracks that matched their tone. While fans rarely saw consistency, helped build his image as the face of DTE's future. The song Bussin' became his breakout anthem, spreading across Atlanta neighborhoods like wildfire. The beat was simple, but heavy, carrying the type of bounce that clubs demanded. The lyrics reflected his reality, with Trouble delivering in his signature tone. The track was not made for radio, but still found its way into constant rotation. DJs spun it at strip clubs and street parties, and crowds rapped every word back. Bussin' turned Trouble into a household name within Atlanta's underground. The song's impact proved that his music had the power to move beyond local corners. Trouble's influences shaped the way he presented himself, and Tupac's presence loomed large in his work. He admired Pac's ability to speak directly to people with honesty. DMX also gave him a blueprint for delivering raw emotion through voice and cadence. Trouble combined those influences with his own experiences, creating a unique brand of Atlanta storytelling. His charisma set him apart because people wanted to listen when he spoke. Even when he was not rapping, his interviews and appearances showed a natural magnetism. That charisma carried him into bigger circles because industry figures began paying close attention. By the mid-2010s, Trouble was ready for bigger stages, and Mike Will Made It stepped in. Mike Will, one of Atlanta's most successful producers, signed Trouble under his Eardrummer Records imprint. The partnership eventually led to an Interscope Records deal, giving Trouble national visibility. This was a major moment for DTE because one of their own had crossed into the industry spotlight. Trouble's rise felt like the streets of Zone 6 had a direct line into mainstream offices. Even with the major deal, his music did not lose its edge or identity. That authenticity made the partnership powerful because listeners believed in Trouble's words. Big names began to notice, and Trouble received co-signs from artists like Drake and The Weeknd. Drake mentioned him as one of Atlanta's realest, and The Weeknd respected his style. Those endorsements put Trouble in front of fans who had never heard of DTE before. For the crew, it meant their movement had officially crossed into new territories. Trouble stood as the symbol of Duct Tape's reality, moving into national recognition. He showed that a rapper could represent the hardest corners of Zone 6 and still get industry respect. His rise validated DTE's grind and proved that their story could not be ignored. Trouble carried his city on his shoulders during this period, representing Atlanta with pride. Interviews showed him speaking with confidence about his upbringing and the lessons he carried. He never pretended to be polished, and that made his words even more powerful. Listeners connected because he gave them honesty instead of scripted narratives. The industry might have been watching, but Trouble never stopped rapping for the neighborhoods that built him. That loyalty to the streets gave DTE a national face while still keeping credibility intact. For Duct Tape Entertainment, the rise of Trouble was more than an artist breakthrough. It represented the possibility possibility of street-rooted rap crossing into a wider market without losing identity. Trouble stood as a bridge between Zone 6 and the mainstream music industry. His youth, his history, his hunger, and his talent made him the perfect symbol. To the streets, he was still the same Trouble they knew. To the industry, he was the new voice of Atlanta with limitless potential. For DTE, he was the heart of the crew, carrying their name further than ever before. By the time Duct Tape Entertainment had a growing catalog, their reputation was already speaking louder than music. People in Atlanta recognized them not only for songs, but for their raw presence. The crew carried authenticity that could not be manufactured, and the streets felt it. Their image came through grainy videos, handheld DVDs, and live appearances that looked like real block scenes. Unlike polished industry crews, DTE did not chase staged images for television or executives. What you saw was exactly what existed in the neighborhoods that raised them. Street DVDs from the late 2000s and early 2010s were filled with DTE footage. Cameras caught them outside gas stations, clubs, and projects, always deep and always confident. The quality of those clips was shaky, but the energy was undeniable. Fans saw raw images of Big Bank speaking, Alley Boy freestyling, and Trouble holding the crowd. Those visuals made them appear more dangerous because everything looked uncut. They were not interested in red carpets or glossy magazine covers. Their choice of presentation reinforced the idea that DTE was street first. Beef culture was also part of their reputation, and Alley Boy led that charge. His diss tracks toward established figures like Jeezy and T.I. made major headlines in Atlanta. At the time, both men were giants in the city, holding mainstream respect. Alley Boy went directly at them in tracks, showing his refusal to back down. Those confrontations gave DTE a fearless aura, because not many rappers dared to make those moves. Whether on stage, in interviews, or in clubs, Alley Boy's name brought tension. Fans respected him for calling out anyone, no matter their status. The beef showed that DTE valued principle and pride over calculated industry plays. The infamous Young LA tattoo incident also shaped how the city viewed duct tape. In 2011, Young LA got a duck tattoo on his face, resembling duct tape branding. Alley Boy saw this as disrespect because the symbol was being used without permission. The crew confronted him directly, and the situation ended violently with video proof spreading online. Young LA was beaten, and the tattoo was marked out with black ink. That moment showed the world how seriously DTE took loyalty and branding. To them, the tape symbol was sacred, and no outsider could claim it lightly. The incident cemented their reputation for enforcing respect, even through physical consequences. Rumors followed DTE everywhere because their movements attracted both fans and investigators. Whispers of extortion floated around clubs, with some saying artists had to check in with DTE. There were also stories of arsons connected to disputes, though many details remained unverified. Whether true or exaggerated, these stories fed into their myth. People believed DTE controlled certain blocks and influenced what outsiders could do in the city. Media outlets began highlighting their reputation, framing them as both a rap crew and a feared presence. For locals, that meant aligning with DTE carried benefits and risks. The name duct tape became synonymous with respect backed by intimidation. Journalists noted how DTE stood apart from industry-friendly Atlanta labels like Quality Control. While QC worked with executives in radio consistently, DTE leaned harder into neighborhood credibility. Reporters described how their mixtape drops felt more like street events than corporate releases. The city's coverage often blurred fact and rumor, making it difficult to separate legend from truth. This narrative helped solidify DTE as larger than life because mystery amplified their presence. Even people who never heard a mixtape still knew the name duct tape. The blurred line between rap crew and gang became a constant conversation around them. Law enforcement regularly watched DTE, noting that many members had previous arrests. Cases tied to associates brought more attention, with courtrooms repeating their name alongside charges. Though the label described itself as music, the perception outside was often different. People saw them moving deep, defending their name violently, and holding a strong neighborhood base. To the public eye, that was no different than what gangs were known for. The association shaped how police, media, and even other rappers interacted with them. That perception carried both benefits and consequences because respect came quickly, but opportunities came slower. DTE's reputation for fear made them untouchable in some circles. At the same time, mainstream executives hesitated, worried about potential backlash and legal heat. Yet within Atlanta, their name still carried heavy weight. You could not dismiss DTE when discussing the streets that raised Atlanta rap. Their authenticity, beefs, and reputation made sure their story would be remembered far beyond mixtapes. By the early 2010s, DTE had become one of Atlanta's most feared rap crews. Their reputation was shaped by loyalty, aggression, and unfiltered authenticity that people either respected or avoided. For some, they were the embodiment of keeping it real, no matter the cost. For others, they were a dangerous example of music, and the streets blending too closely. Either way, Duct Tape Entertainment left no doubt about their place in Atlanta's history. Their myth was built on both fact and rumor, and the city spoke their name with caution. From the beginning, Duct Tape Entertainment walked a line that outsiders struggled to define. Inside Atlanta, they were known as a label, a family, and a respected crew. But for law enforcement, their movements often looked like something bigger than music. Court cases tied their name to violence, and prosecutors repeated Duct Tape Boys in ways that stuck. The label's reputation became harder to separate from rumors when legal language painted them as a gang. One of the earliest high-profile cases tied to their name was the 2011 Athens shooting. The case became known in Georgia legal circles as Thomas v. State. Witnesses said a fight broke out near an Athens apartment complex late that night. Shots were fired, and investigators claimed the shooter had ties to Duct Tape. The details were messy, with some witnesses contradicting each other about who was present. Prosecutors emphasized the Duct Tape connection to frame the shooting as organized gang violence. Defense lawyers pushed back, but the damage was already done in public perception. To the streets, it was just another fight turned tragic. But in court, the words Duct Tape Boys carried heavy weight. Another federal case added to the scrutiny when Terry Williams, a self-proclaimed Duct Tape member, faced charges. The Department of Justice filed documents naming him alongside references to DTE. Williams claimed affiliation with the crew, and prosecutors leaned on that claim to describe his actions. The charges included drug distribution and firearm offenses, all painted as part of Duct Tape Boys' activity. Whether Williams was truly part of the label's inner circle or not, the headlines carried the name. For investigators, his self-description gave them a way to link the music label with criminal enterprise. That blurred line created more confusion between DTE as a rap crew and DTE as a gang. The truth was more complicated because not everyone in DTE was involved in crime. Big Bank Black built the label with business vision, not a desire to create a gang. Trouble was focused on music, pushing his craft while trying to leave the street life behind. Alley Boy lived his truth, but his voice in records did not equal court indictments. Still, outsiders only saw the loudest moments, the beefs, the violence, and the confrontations. They did not see the studio nights filled with family, kids running around, and merch being packed. Those details rarely made the news because courtrooms focused on gun cases and fights. Legal language played a powerful role in shaping how DTE was perceived across Atlanta. Prosecutors labeled them Duct Tape Boys, a phrase that sounded more like a gang than a label. Court transcripts and police reports used that terminology again and again. Over time, those words made their way into articles, headlines, and public conversations. The image of DTE as a gang hardened, even when the facts showed a music crew. Years later, the YSL indictment followed the same playbook, framing rap lyrics and crews as organized crime. In many ways, DTE had already lived through that type of scrutiny a decade earlier. The crew themselves denied those portrayals, insisting that DTE was a label first. Big Bank and Alley Boy explained in interviews that they built the brand from music. They admitted their backgrounds were from the streets, but they rejected the idea of being classified as a gang. Alley Boy once argued that rap lyrics were creative expression, not criminal evidence. The crew pointed out that prosecutors targeted black rap groups far more aggressively than other genres. They called it racial bias, saying the system criminalized art whenever it reflected real struggles. Those arguments did not always win in court, but they resonated with fans. For fans, the blurred identity became part of the fascination. Supporters loved DTE's music because it felt authentic, unfiltered, and true to the streets. That same authenticity fed the perception that they were more than a label. People debated online whether they were a gang or just a hard label. Some saw the courtroom accusations as proof of their fearsome reputation. Others defended them, saying law enforcement twisted reality to paint black artists as criminals. Either way, the dual identity of Duct Tape Entertainment became legendary in Atlanta culture. The more prosecutors pushed the gang narrative, the more fans repeated stories that added to the myth. Rumors spread faster than verified facts because every new headline carried the name duct tape. The fascination grew with every court appearance and every article that tied them to violence. For DTE, it was both a curse and a strange type of branding. Their name was known across the city for both music and fear. People respected the label, but they also whispered about it like a street organization. That tension followed them everywhere, from nightclubs to news reports. By the mid-2010s, the question of whether Duct Tape Entertainment was a label or a gang had no clear answer. To the crew, they were brothers and artists, chasing respect and money. To the courts, they were a group worth monitoring like a criminal enterprise. That split defined their legacy, even before national audiences saw the YSL trial, years later. DTE lived in that blurred space, and fans never stopped debating where the truth really sat. On June 5th, 2022, Atlanta lost one of its most respected voices. Mariel Trouble Orr was shot and killed in Conyers, Georgia. The news hit like a shockwave, spreading across the city in minutes. Reports confirmed he had been at the Lake St. James apartment complex. The apartment belonged to a longtime female friend who had invited him over. Trouble was sleeping in bed when the shooter entered, according to police records. Within moments, an argument turned violent, and Trouble's life ended at 34 years old. Authorities named the suspect as 33-year-old Jamichael Jones, a man with prior ties to the woman. Investigators said Jones and the woman had once been romantically involved. According to warrants, Jones entered the apartment without permission and confronted the pair. The confrontation escalated, and Jones fired shots that struck Trouble in the chest. Witnesses told police that Jones then fled the scene immediately afterward. He was arrested later in the week after turning himself in to Rockdale County authorities. The charges included felony murder, aggravated assault, and home invasion. From the beginning, the case divided public opinion about what truly happened. Police called it a crime of passion, tied to jealousy and relationship drama. Some fans accepted that explanation, seeing it as a tragic domestic dispute. Others spread rumors online, suggesting the story went deeper than reports claimed. On social media, speculation about retaliation and hidden enemies grew quickly. Street whispers tied the killing to unresolved tensions, even when no evidence supported those claims. For many, the official reports did not stop the flood of theories and gossip. The city of Atlanta grieved publicly because Trouble had become more than just a rapper. His funeral turned into a gathering of Atlanta's entire rap elite. The service was held at the House of Hope Atlanta, a megachurch in Decatur. Artists like T.I., 2 Chainz, Gucci Mane, and Jeezy all came to pay respects. The turnout showed how much respect Trouble carried across different generations of the Atlanta scene. Big Bank Black delivered an emotional eulogy, struggling through tears as he remembered his brother. He spoke about their bond, their grind, and the legacy Trouble left behind. His words captured both the pain and pride of losing the heart of the crew. Alley Boy carried his grief in a different way, often speaking about Trouble years later. In interviews, Alley admitted the pain had not faded with time. He described how Trouble's presence made the label feel alive, and losing him left a hole. Alley's words came raw, reminding fans that even hardened figures suffer heavy losses. For him, Trouble was not just another member, but family. That bond showed in every reflection, because Alley spoke with loyalty and sadness together. The grief lingered long after the funeral ended, shaping how DTE carried itself afterward. Online, the speculation never slowed down, even after Jamichael Jones faced charges. Blogs and forums repeated rumors of retaliation plots, although no proof ever surfaced. Some posts claimed Duct Tape would answer the killing with force. Others said the crew chose silence to avoid fueling more investigations. Gossip blurred with myth until casual fans could not separate fact from fiction. The streets of Atlanta always carried rumors, but Trouble's death made them spread further. The mix of mourning, confusion, and speculation turned his story into one more layer of legend. For fans, Trouble's death symbolized both the highest visibility and the greatest loss for DTE. At the moment his career had fully crossed into national recognition, tragedy cut it short. His deals with Mike Will and Interscope had positioned him for long-term success. Co-signs from stars like Drake and The Weeknd showed his reach beyond Atlanta. Yet his life ended in a way that reminded everyone of the risks surrounding street reality. Trouble represented the voice of Zone 6, and that voice was silenced suddenly. For the crew, his loss was not just personal, but symbolic. DTE lost the artist who carried their name further than anyone else. The legacy of Trouble remained complicated. balancing music achievements with the myths surrounding his death. Fans replayed his interviews, mixtapes, and studio footage as tributes across social platforms. Murals appeared in Atlanta, painted on walls that once carried his music and speakers. For his community, the loss reminded them of how fragile success could be. For Duct Tape, it meant their greatest moment of recognition was tied to heartbreak. His death closed one chapter of Atlanta rap history, while making his story permanent in the city's memory. After Trouble's death, the crew faced a new chapter that tested everything they had built. The pain was heavy, but Duct Tape Entertainment refused to fade into silence. Their answer came with the Duct Tape Infinity mixtape, a project meant to honor Trouble while regrouping. The tape carried raw emotion, featuring tracks that reminded listeners of the brother they lost. For the crew, it was both a tribute and a declaration that DTE was still alive. The project showed that the brand had no plans of letting grief erase their story. A new generation began stepping forward, determined to keep the name relevant. Among them was Pesh Mayweather, who brought energy and charisma into the spotlight. His sound reflected the streaming era, but still carried the grit that defined the crew. Lil Bailey also emerged, carrying his family ties and representing the continuation of Duct Tape loyalty. DJ Plug added another dimension, providing beats and support that kept their catalog moving. Together, they represented the evolution of DTE, moving into a digital landscape while holding on to tradition. The younger members proved that Duct Tape still held strong across generations. Solo ventures also became part of how the brand survived without Trouble. Big Bank leaned heavily into podcasting, building new platforms where his voice carried influence. Veli Sosa pushed personal projects, staying active with business ventures and community moves. Pesh Mayweather found traction through streaming numbers, connecting with fans who never touched physical CDs. These solo pursuits kept the crew's name alive in spaces outside traditional mixtape culture. It showed that DTE understood survival meant adapting to new lanes without losing their roots. The balance was never easy, but the family structure gave them enough strength. The struggle to stay relevant in the streaming era was real for Duct Tape. The music industry had shifted, and the rules of distribution looked different. Handing out CDs no longer carried the same impact when Spotify links were everywhere. Still, DTE found ways to maintain cultural weight even without dominating charts. Their name carried heavy respect in Atlanta, and no new crew could erase that. The loyalty, the history, and the authenticity gave them staying power far beyond numbers. In the streaming era, cultural weight often mattered more than mainstream visibility, and DTE held theirs. Big Bank himself embodied the transition from raw streets to something deeper.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is Base 44. This is the first look.
His evolution showed how an OG could move from hustling to mentoring without losing credibility. The Big Facts podcast became his most visible platform, gaining national attention across hip-hop circles. Episodes featured conversations with major names like Jeezy, Birdman, and Lil Duval. Those interviews showed Big Bank stepping into the role of interviewer, thinker, and cultural commentator. The tone often shifted from glorifying the past to reflecting on lessons learned. Listeners respected the way he balanced street authenticity with mature perspective. Another platform, Perspectives, allowed Big Bank to speak directly about issues beyond rap. He held discussions about mental health, community growth, and surviving trauma. For someone who once represented fear and authority, this shift carried serious weight. People listened closely because the wisdom came from lived experience, not classroom theory. His voice influenced younger artists who struggled with the same issues he once faced. The respect he earned in the streets gave him credibility in these new conversations. Big Bank's transformation reflected the possibility of growth within hip-hop's toughest figures. Beyond media, Big Bank became active in town halls, philanthropy, and mentoring programs. He showed up in schools and neighborhoods, speaking about decisions and consequences. Community talks placed him alongside pastors, teachers, and civic leaders. His presence showed that transformation was not only possible, but powerful. He pushed conversations about building businesses, mental health awareness, and staying disciplined. The same man who once enforced loyalty through fear now guided people toward reflection. His journey became an example of what growth could look like after years of survival. Big Bank carried the symbol of DTE's maturity into the broader city culture. Duct Tape Entertainment's legacy reached beyond their own circle because their blueprint influenced other Atlanta crews. Slaughter Gang, led by 21 Savage, borrowed from the DTE model of family and loyalty. Hoodrick followed similar patterns, building movements that carried local credibility before mainstream recognition. Gucci Mane's 1017 and later Quality Control also reflected lessons that DTE lived through. The emphasis on independence, authenticity, and control over image came directly from the duct tape philosophy. Even when newer labels found wider success, many acknowledged DTE's early role in shaping the culture. Their influence was baked into the DNA of modern Atlanta hip-hop. Trap authenticity was one of their biggest contributions to the broader scene. At a time when many labels polished their image for executives, DTE doubled down on rawness. They showed that you could own your music, move as a unit, and build respect. Their ownership model, from DVDs to mixtapes to merch, gave others the blueprint. Independence became a trend across Atlanta, but DTE was already moving that way. They taught crews that you did not need mainstream love to hold cultural dominance. Their presence reminded artists that the streets would always reward authenticity first. Still, their legacy carried contradictions that shaped how people viewed them. DTE commanded street respect, but struggled with mainstream visibility at the highest level. The fear they created sometimes limited their opportunities, even as it built their myth. Their legend thrived in rumors, whispers, and street stories more than billboard placements. Yet that myth sustained their name in ways that radio spins never could. Every conversation about Atlanta's hardest crews eventually circled back to duct tape. Their balance of respect and fear became both an advantage and a limitation. In the end, duct tape entertainment became both a cautionary tale and an inspiration. They showed the power of loyalty, authenticity, and raw truth in a city full of labels. They also showed the consequences of living too close to street reality while chasing industry recognition. Their history explained why Atlanta could never be understood by numbers alone. DTE stood for a blueprint that valued loyalty over polish, survival over acceptance, and family over fame. That formula built legends, but also carried a risk that could not be ignored. When people look back at their story, the closing thought remains sharp and clear. Before YSL made national headlines with indictments and debates, Atlanta already had its example. Duct tape entertainment